guys, don't be grim, because I'm Dreary, and today I'll be answering the question, is tracing even bad? But before I get into this, I wanted to show off some of my sister's art because she's really amazing and she did join my Discord, hint hint. So during this video, I will be having a speed paint of hers up on the screen. I am not as good as an artist as she is, don't get the wrong idea, my dudes. She's great. Check out her art Instagram, it should be in the top link in the description. And without any further ado, let's get into the video. So, to start off this video, I'm going to answer my own question right off the back, so that I'm not dragging out your watch time. So, is tracing bad? Yes! And no. Let me explain a bit before I get a few comments telling me that I'm wrong before hearing my points. That's a joke, by the way, don't get Toxic tracing in the art community is when an artist takes another person's work, traces it, and calls it their own. You can see this a lot on the animation meme community here on YouTube. What happens most of the time is that the tracer in question sees that another animator's animation has blown up, and in an attempt to make their own video blow up, they trace over the much more successful animator. Big artists that tend to get traced a lot, here on YouTube at least, are Sashly CineBear03, or as they are more commonly known, Scootaloo, and Wolfiechu. And just by looking at their art style here on screen, you can probably recognize it if you didn't recognize their names. I mean, if you've been in the animation and animation meme community for a while, you've probably seen your fair share of people tracing these creators. But why is it that these creators get traced a lot? Well, I think it has something to do with how popular they are. I mean, Sashly has 687,000 subscribers, and CineBear, or Scootaloo, has 500k, and Wolfiechu has almost 3 million. So why am I bringing this up? Well, these creators have a huge following, and because of that, more and more people see their content, not to mention that many of YouTube's users are children. So we can probably guess that a huge percentage of the people who watch their content are younger and don't have a fully developed brain yet, which leads these little tiny dummies into wanting to trace to get attention on YouTube. Now, from what I've seen, this is what usually happens in the scenarios when the tracers are just trying to get attention. The tracer will decide to trace a piece of work and put it on YouTube without giving credit to its original creator, which causes upheaval from the community. That leads to their video blowing up and having a terrible like to dislike ratio, which tells us that most people on the platform dislike seeing tracers, as most artists don't see the tracing as a form of flattery and see it more as a form of art plagiarism. And because of the terrible like to dislikes, you would at least hope that the tracer would stop, that they would realize that what they're doing is wrong because of the feedback they're getting from the community. But most of the time, that doesn't happen. I mean, they see the video blow up and think they have to get attention from YouTube and make sure their channel doesn't die. So what do? They continue to trace, which leads to more and more upheaval, which leads to more and more views, and you guessed it, more tracing without giving art credit. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't call out when people are tracing. I think you most certainly should, and you should give them a little while to explain themselves, because something could be an accident, you know? Most of the time it isn't, I'm gonna be honest, it really isn't, but there are certainly going to be a few outliers. I'm merely pointing out that the cycle that comes from tracers' videos blowing up. I mean, most of the time they won't change, and witch hunting them only gives them more attention. So my solution, don't watch their video, watch other people's videos about them. Because while it gives the tracer a little bit of attention, the tracer isn't getting a view from you. And in that way, isn't getting the attention they feel like they deserve, meaning that the attention they get from tracing is a bit less and less. Besides, it's a good way to support the good creators in the community and not support the bad ones. Is this a backwards way of asking you to watch more of my videos as a shameless self-promotion? Yes. Yes, it is. However, in the beginning I said that tracing wasn't all bad, but what could be good about tracing? Well, many professional artists trace over references that they have taken or used to make sure the proportions are correct. And tracing can be a great learning tool for beginning artists like myself. You can learn how the body works and how hands move. You can learn how other artists work their pieces and how you can apply their knowledge to your own works. In fact, many articles about learning how to draw even suggest it. And if tracing was that bad, you'd think no one would stand by it. What I think people dislike isn't tracing at all. What people hate is the fact that some tracers trace other artists' work and refuse to give the credit where credit is due, and claim the art as their own, effectively ignoring the fact that the art they have created isn't wholly a work of their own mind, and was taken off of another artist. Now, I think people can trace and not be toxic, and they have to just do it correctly. If you trace over another artist's work that hasn't been put out into the world as some sort of base, or you don't have permission from said artist, make sure you give a little bit of credit, such as something in the description like, thanks to such and such for their base, or some random forum I saw on the internet but your name was on it, so I decided to give you a little bit of credit, you know? That little stuff like that, taking 10 seconds out of your day to write that down can go a long way. Besides, in my humble view, tracing over something like a stock photo or a photo you took isn't all that bad, and can tie back to what I said before about tracing and learning to draw anatomy. Let's just say that you decide to trace over another artist's work for practice, but don't post it online. That's completely fine too. In fact, it can really help you dig out and develop a specific style that you want to create. So, in the grand scheme of things, what I'm trying to say is tracing isn't all that bad. You just have to use the tools that you have been given correctly. Now, I hope I was able to show you guys what I thought on the subject, and hopefully you agree with me. If you don't, you can put it down in the comment section and we can have a chat there. I'd love to hear your opinion on the subject. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Why don't you like the video and subscribe, that way you can see more of my amazing and less gruff voice content. But that's all for today's video, so I'll see you next time.